Okay, welcome back. This is part two. Let me clarify, restate what it was that I was saying here at the end of verse 19 and verse 20. And what is the surpassing greatness of his power toward us who believe? These are in accordance with the working of the strength of his might. Again, the word power, um, greatness is a numerical term of quantity. Power is kind of a qualitative term. The strength of his might is a term referring to the Messiah. We see also that his right hand is seated him at his right hand is also used in the next verse in verse 20. The word might and the word his right hand, these are both messianic references. Specifically, then what we understand is that Jesus is the strength and Jesus is the right hand. So in verse 20, which he brought about in Messiah, that he raised him from the dead and seated him at his right hand in heavenly places. Now, some people try to make somehow there must be two thrones up in heaven. Let's just be very simple. There's only one throne in heaven. Jesus, who is God, is seated on that throne. Now, Jesus' power then is over all human conventions that are in the world, human powers, human governments, human authorities, even human emotions, if you will. All of these kinds of things. Dominion is geographical terms over every name that is named, and not only in this age. So not only is Jesus in control of everything that is going on in the world right now. I understand many people don't maybe think that that's what's happening, but through the ecclesia, through the congregation of people, yes, Jesus does have power even in this age, but also in the age to come, or in this world and the world to come. These Greek words can be translated either way. And he's put all some things in subjection under his feet and made him as head over all things to the ecclesia. Jesus is the head, the ecclesia is in the world, and Jesus is the head over the ecclesia. Finally, which is his body, the fullness of him who fills all in all. Basically, what we're talking about here is the corporate idea that the Holy Spirit, which fills people, the Holy Spirit fills all of us corporately, and we work for the purpose or the function of Jesus as the Messiah. And so this is kind of the understanding that we have towards the end of Ephesians chapter 1. Now, our relationship as a body of people, as an ecclesia with Yeshua, both Jews and Gentiles together, we have a very important position, even so much that it says that we're seated with him in the heavens. So we have a place in heaven. However, in chapter 2, we need to remind ourselves that because this is true about us, that does not lead us room for arrogance. Verses 1 through 3 are very clear. We have trespasses, we have sins, we walk according to the prince of the power of the air. Some people might suggest the prince of the power of the air might refer to Satan. There's another interpretation that is possible that maybe this is referring to a person's speech. Sometimes, speech comes from air. When we talk, I'm speaking out air. And so it might be that kind of like what James talks about in James chapter 3, that our tongues are a ship without a rudder to steer them. Perhaps what Paul is saying here is that we're responsible for our own sin. The devil did not make us do it, but in fact that our own words, our own actions, what we do is the result and the cause for our sin. And so, yes, that's what it says in verse 3, that we walk according to our own lusts and our own desires and our own flesh by our own mind. We were children of wrath. These are the words that Paul refers to. Now, in verses 4 through 7, then, though, it is because of God's mercy that we are not held in judgment for all of those previous sins. Yes, we walk according to our flesh, but when we submit ourselves to Jesus, then we receive the mercy that God has. But not only do we receive the mercy from God, but furthermore, and more importantly, we receive his grace. Now, his grace refers to a couple of things. First, it refers to the salvation. Salvation meaning Yeshua. Yeshua, which is salvation. That is the first gift that God has given to us. He gave us Yeshua. And by receiving Yeshua, we have a second gift. And that second gift is a place in heaven, a seat in heaven. A seat is sort of a legal term. It doesn't mean that we have a throne in heaven. There is only one throne, and Jesus is sitting on that throne. but we have a seat in heaven, a place to be. Jesus said, I go to prepare a place for you. So yes, Paul is re-emphasizing we have a place in heaven, and it is a good place. And that is also a gift that is given by God. So his mercy is that we are not judged for the sin. His grace is very similar to the idea that we talked about in thanks. Thank you for inspiring us to give thanks. Well, he gave us Jesus, but not only did he give us Jesus, but he gave us the ability to accept and to receive Jesus. So we have both of those things, and all of that is grace. Finally, we come to the conclusion, verses 8 through 10. And in that we come to the idea that Jesus, which is our salvation, who is our gift, it is through him that we have faith, and it's not of ourselves, it is a gift. So God's gift is that we are able to have faith. Verse 9, it is not according to works, lest we should boast. Works is not a bad thing, like many people try to make this out. Works is not a bad thing, but no, in verse 10 it says works is the result of our salvation. So our good deeds, the things that we were created to do, the good works, we are only able to do those good works once we have received Jesus. And thank you for listening. This should be the end of part 2.